The holidays can be a stressful time of year. So let's chat ways that we can make it a little less stressful and a little more fun. Sometimes life just sucks, and sometimes it freaking rocks. We will discuss all the things from family and real estate to travel and just life in general. So take a seat, or don't, you do you, and welcome to the Lumbadass Podcast. Okay, so it is officially Thanksgiving week. This is probably one of the craziest weeks for me because generally, obviously, all these words. So Thanksgiving falls on the fourth Thursday of November. And when I got married, that Thursday, that Thanksgiving was Thursday. And then I got married that Sunday. So I actually got married the weekend after Thanksgiving, which is crazy. Because that year just happened to be really late in the year. And so for our family, I find that this time of year is so insanely stressful and very busy. My kids also have their water polo banquet at the end of the year. And I am responsible and in charge of like putting it all together and whatnot. Now, I will tell you, as Billy's shaking his head, I will tell you that I don't host Thanksgiving at my house. So that certainly helps me. I only host Christmas. I know every family does it differently. That's just how we do it. I've hosted Christmas at my house since my babies were little. My parents are wonderful human beings. And when I had my kids, she was like, I remember when you kids were little, like us having to go and jump around from place to place. And she's like, it sucked for you guys. After you opened your presents, you just wanted to stay home and you wanted to stay in your jammies and you wanted to play with your toys. And we had to get ready and start making our rounds. So she was like, I'm not doing that to your kids. Instead, you're going to host. And I'm like, perfect. So it actually works out really well. I'll get to Christmas in a second. So I also host Halloween. So I hate Halloween. It's not my jam. Please don't come after me. I know there's a lot of people that love Halloween, and that is okay. I don't love it for any other reason than I don't need another thing thrown on my plate. And I feel like it's just the beginning of the craziness. So when my babies were little, that was 4 costumes that we had to buy for. And then if Jacob was with his mom, like when are we going to see him or how's that going to go down? And then now that my kids are older, it's like who's going where and who's doing what and who's going to be home at what time. And it's nuts. So I would say, gosh, it was really early on when we were married. I was like, listen, Halloween's at our house. And I do a big pot of chili and cheese. And we do chili cheese hot dogs. And the kids would go out trick-or-treating and all the things, right? It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was fun. But it's not something that I truly enjoyed. I wanted to enjoy the moment. I would take pictures of my kids, but 9 times out of 10, their costumes were half-assed thrown together. And it was old shit with the new shit. And it was just, I'm a horrible Halloween mom. I remember my kids wanted to put up spider webs and I'm like, all right, let's do it. So literally like the day before Halloween, we're putting spider webs on the house. And then naturally I took that shit off right away so that I could set it for Christmas because we know we all go straight from Halloween to Christmas. We'll touch on that also in a minute. But now that my kids are older, I have them come over to our house. We have a pool in our backyard. So I usually we'll heat up the spa. We heated up the pool a couple of years in a row. And then I was like, this is nonsense. Once we got that bill, I was like, that's not happening anymore. So now we heat up the spa. I do a pumpkin carving contest. And it was actually quite funny because we were going to do one this year. And Carson, my youngest, had a bunch of his friends over. All my other kids went to parties or went and hung out with, whoever they were hanging out with. And so only one kid did a pumpkin carving contest. So I let him win. And he happened to be friends with my 18-year-old. So it was funny. We had people of all ages. Our house was a madhouse. And Halloween was what, like on a Tuesday, Billy, I think? It was like the middle of the week, people. And I'm like, these kids all have school tomorrow. Like, what the hell's going on? It was fun. I love hosting. Hosting makes my heart happy. As much stress as it brings, it's so worth it. I love the memories. In fact, I was telling the kids, we should go celebrate Christmas in like Germany where they have all the Christmas markets and stuff like that. And my youngest looks at me and he's like, Christmas is celebrated here at home and you make Ronies. And I'm like, okay. So that's kind of like our whole thing. Okay, now let's chit chat about the debacle about decorating for Christmas before Thanksgiving. Now, as a kid, my mom was wonderful. She's still wonderful even as an adult, but She would always set up Christmas like the weekend after Thanksgiving. It went up right away, but it waited until after Thanksgiving. I think truly she did this for one major reason, and that's because Thanksgiving's always at mom's house. Like we always have Thanksgiving at mom's house. I even remember one Thanksgiving, my mom was in the hospital. And we still did Thanksgiving at our house because she always hosted. So everybody was expecting to come over. So my mom's like, just do it. You can figure it out. You'll be fine. So my grandma and I did Thanksgiving and we're all sitting there around the table and Sweetie Pie looks at me. He goes, it's not the same without your mom. I said, I know. It was very sweet. But anyways, it's not the same if we have it anywhere else. So I think that that's the main reason why she doesn't. I also want it to be known that I have so many blessings in my life to be grateful for. Like even when things are bad or whatever, I still have so many blessings. So I do feel a little conflicted decorating before Thanksgiving. But when I became a mom, that was the only thing I ever wanted to be, by the way, was a mom. Like I forever and ever wanted to be a wife and a mom. And so my kids love the Christmas season. And so for us, when my babies were little, I always waited until after Thanksgiving because that's what my mom did. And we had so much to be thankful for. And then there came a point where I was like, well, I don't host for Thanksgiving. So who cares if my trees are up? And by the way, even if you do host for Thanksgiving and your trees are up, I'm okay with that, just so we're clear. In case you needed validation from a complete stranger on a podcast, it's yours for the taking. No, but I feel like my kids are growing up so fast. And if they sit here and they love the holidays and they want it to last a little bit longer, who am I to say no? So I actually 9 times out of 10 will decorate before Halloween. And y'all, as I mentioned before, I host Halloween. So to me, if it brings happiness to you, decorate whenever the hell you want to. And you know what? If you don't want to decorate, I had a client last year, we were selling their house right around this time of year and they were moving into their new home, but their new home, they needed to do some work in and stuff like that beforehand. And I remember she called me one day and she goes, I don't think I'm going to decorate for Christmas. And I said, all right, Neen, don't decorate for Christmas then. And she's like, we're going to be here, we're going to be there. And I felt like she was like, I just need it to be told that it's okay that I don't have to decorate. I think you should do what makes you happy during the holidays. There's so much stress that goes on that if it's one less thing for you to do and you don't feel like doing it and nobody's depending on you to do it, then don't do it. But my kids do depend on me to do it. And in fact, they were so excited to pull out all the Christmas stuff. We decorated, it was the weekend after, or no. It was like the Thursday after Halloween. That's what I'm telling you. Halloween had to have been like on a Tuesday or something. And my boys totally helped me. And it was really sweet. Actually, Carson was like, we need to put on Christmas music, Mom, because we always listen to Christmas music when we decorate. I'm like, okay. So we set up that. We set up our nativities and, all the things. And my house looks beautiful. We got it all done in one night. Sweetie Pie wasn't feeling very well, so he went to bed. So when he woke up the next morning, it was like winter wonderland in our house. And I actually set up, because I'm a lunatic, I set up 4 Christmas trees. So I have one in our front room, and then that's like the room that nobody's allowed in. We don't have those rooms so much anymore now that home builders have gotten with the times, but I still have one. So that Christmas tree is beautiful. It's all the reds and it's all sparkly. It's gorgeous. And then in my living room, or my family room rather, I have 2 Christmas trees. They're like pencil trees. And one has ornaments of all of our travels, because if you know me or you've been following me for a hot minute, we love to travel. So that one has all of our ornaments of all of our travels. And then the other one has all the ornaments that the kids made when they were little. A lot of them are handprint ornaments and stuff, just the ones that can't be replaced. And then we're big Bronco fans. Shout out to the Broncos, even though you guys are doing terrible this season. We still love you. I normally do a Bronco tree, and it's normally a white Christmas tree with white lights. And then it has yellow. It has orange and navy Christmas bulbs, and we have a tree topper. David's aunt, who I love, her, Aunt Kathy, made us a really beautiful Bronco tree skirt. I mean, it's like dialed in, and but my tree lights burnt out on that. So my mom was like, well, my parents remodeled their kitchen. So my mom's like, here, you can have this Christmas tree that I used to have in this room that it's no longer going to work anymore. And it's beautiful. It's like navies and teals, and it has like some purples in it, like all the things. So that hasn't been set up yet because they're in Seattle visiting my sister. My sister lives just outside of Seattle. So when they get back, I'm going to have that to set up. So just another thing on my plate, but I'm here for it and the boys help me. So I'm looking forward to it. The one thing that I think does not get talked about enough during the holiday season are all the stressful situations. Not everybody has a great family life, right? Not everybody has the best parents in the world. So it makes it really difficult when holidays that are supposed to be surrounded with family and those that you love turns into a situation where it's very anxious and you don't know what to do and all those things. I want it to be known that that is okay. Having relationships like that, unfortunately, it sucks. But if there's no fixing it either, or there's strong boundaries that you or other members in your family have, then I think it's safe and beneficial to everyone that you keep those boundaries even during the holidays. There's family members in our lives, particularly where my husband would say, I get so anxious. I get this, I get that. And I said, well, listen, we're going to continue to do the things that we do until you tell me that we're not. And then we're going to come up with a different plan. So back in 2019, this is getting a little personal. Back in 2019, Sweetie Pie came to me and he was like, that's it. We're doing holidays the way that we want to do them. I don't want to feel like we have to be anywhere. I don't want to do this. And mind you, in 2019, I mean, you guys, that was just it seems like yesterday, but that was just like 4 years ago. But that was the last Christmas that we did holidays with all of our family. Now we set it up to where we still do holidays with them, just not on the holidays. So, family members come over on different days. We exchange gifts. We say, thank you very much. Have a glass of champagne and everybody goes on their way. I think it manages expectations. I think it allows us to enjoy the holidays, both of us, right? Like not just my family, but these other family members too. Like then they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to feel anxious. I don't think the holidays should be an excuse for you to put yourself in situations you don't want to be in. Like if you don't want to be hanging out with me on a random Saturday or Sunday night, then you don't need to feel obligated to do the holidays with me either. Like and that just needs to be okay. So it's very matter of fact at this point. With us, we do things the way that we do things and it works for us. So I know that while the holidays can stir that up in somebody, I think once you make the decision in your family, I'm a big believer now, especially that my son is married. I'm a big believer of we're not welcoming my daughter-in-law into our family, right? Jacob is going with his wife and creating their own new family. Now, do I want them to be a part of everything? Yes. Do I want them at my house for all the things? Also, yes. Do I want them to come with us on all the vacations? Yep, I sure do. But I'm also very well aware that they're going to want their own time and they're going to want their own traditions. And if that includes them doing something with my daughter-in-law's family, who we love, and they love my son so much, then that's the way it is. I even told my daughter-in-law, we were talking about the holidays a while ago, and I said, listen, there's going to come a time where Jared's going to be married, Connor's going to be married, and Carson's going to be married. Presumptuously, of course, but let's assume they all get married. All their spouses are going to have different traditions and things that they do with their families that they're going to want to incorporate. So I'm like, listen, if we do Thanksgiving a week before actual Thanksgiving, so be it. I just want all my kids together. If we celebrate Christmas or Christmas Eve on another completely, other day, fine. I am in my daughter-in-law's life to enhance it, not to burden it. So for me, it's just crazy, and then I have my own in-laws and David has his in-laws, and it's just, there's so much that's being wrapped into things. And how we used to do things is, especially when the kids were younger, is we would go to, when David's grandma was alive, they lived in San Bernardino, which is quite a ways from our house actually, but we would go to her house, we would have Thanksgiving dinner, and then we would go, my mom would hold dinner for us, because again, she's so accommodating, she's so wonderful, but she would hold dinner for us, and we would eat a later Thanksgiving dinner at my mom's house. We did that one year, and Sweetie Pie got home and he threw up. He had like way too much to eat, so he was like, I can't. So he went and he threw up. Poor guy. And I'm like, listen, you don't have to eat full meals at everybody's houses. He's like, it's just so good though. So needless to say, that was the last time we did that. And I'm like, listen. So then it was like, everybody come over to my mom's house. And then my mom was like, well, I kind of just want it with my kids. Okay, well, you can just have it with your kids then too. And then, so it changes. It does change too. But for the most part, now that we have this routine going, what we do now is we go to my mom's for Thanksgiving. My parents live a couple houses down from us. So we bring a wagon. It's actually quite funny. We bring a wagon and we have our sweet potato casserole. That's what I normally make. And I normally do the deviled eggs. My mom doesn't like deviled eggs and my kids love them. So I bring those. My brother-in-law loves them too. In fact, him and I will straight up like box for the freaking deviled eggs because, you know, I make like 36 of them and we're really worried that between the 10 of us, they're going to be gone. That never happens, by the way, because my mom doesn't even like them. But I'm going to miss them this year. My brother-in-law is actually in the state of Georgia for work. He's with the Navy. So I'm going to miss him and my sister this year. But they're doing their own thing too. And then Christmas Eve is always done at my mom's house. And then on Christmas Day, like I said, I host. We make Ronies. That was something that was kind of thrown on us. We never really did Christmas Day. As you know, once my grandparents unfortunately passed away and stuff like that, you know, our holidays changed up a little bit. So on Christmas Day, we used to go over to my parents' best friend's house, and both of them were actually Italian, and so she would make what they called Ronies. And so she would make her sauce all day. So we take a pork butt or a pork shoulder, and then we normally have a beef roast. And then I take sausages, and then I make meatballs. I make meatballs, homemade meatballs with beef and pork. And then so I brown the meat really good, and then I throw it all in one big pot. I mean, you guys, this pot is huge. I stand on a chair to like bend over and stir in it. And we add in all the sauce. It's like Sunday gravy for Italians. We're not Italian at all, but this is something that we do every Christmas ever since they've come into our lives. So now they've since moved to Texas. So now we do it at our house, and it's something that I look forward to, and clearly something that my kids look forward to as well. So I guess what the main purpose of this podcast was, because it was kind of like a hodgepodge of different things between decorating and being stressful and traditions and stuff like that, is if you are a young newlywed couple, I say this as a mother-in-law, I don't ever want you to feel obligated to be somewhere, do something you don't want to do during the holidays. So if you are a future daughter-in-law of mine, I hope that you know that I never have those expectations, but I do want to spend the holidays with you. I feel like most mother-in-laws probably feel that way. So if this is how you feel, I say you guys work out something to where you guys can meet up separately or on a different day or whatever it is, so that you guys can create your own family traditions that way. I also would encourage you as a young wife to make those traditions your own. I also do something during the holidays with my boys. You know, boys are just as capable of baking as girls are. And I remember baking with my grandma, and we would have a bake day and we would get together and we'd bake and all this stuff. I know my aunt in Arkansas with my cousins, they make candy. And so I think that that's so fun. And I really wanted to integrate that into my boys. So my boys, we do a baking day, and I invite their friends and their friends' moms. So my kitchen is a mess for like a good 5 hours, and we spend like 5 hours baking. It's a blast. That's something new that I created once I became a mom. I highly recommend you create your own traditions as well. If you are a parent to adult children, be flexible. I can say now, looking back when my kids were little, being flexible was so amazing. My mom never making me feel pressured to be somewhere. You have to be here. You have to spend this money. You need to do this. You need to do that. I know that was such an ease on me that I didn't appreciate it until later. I remember her always telling me that she wanted it to be easy, but I didn't realize how much I appreciated that until now that I have kids that are older and stuff like that. So that would be my recommendation. As far as decorating goes, decorate whenever the hell you want to. And if you want to leave that Christmas tree up all year, you do you. I know some people who leave it up and then they decorate for different holidays. So for Valentine's Day, they put hearts and, red and pinks all over the tree. Fine. To me, I feel like it would get dusty, but whatever. I don't care if you have a dusty Christmas tree with Valentine decorations and, up in your house. Do what makes you happy. And then the last thing I will say about the stressors, I'm trying to practice what I preach, but I would really manage expectations of what you can do versus what you want to do. And I think once you establish the difference between can and want, I think that will really help with the stressors. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. And hey, yeah, we're just not going to do that this year. Yeah, I know we do it every other year, but that's not what we're doing this year. This is what we're doing instead. I think that that's okay to change things up, obviously with the input of your family too. So I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. I hope you guys have so many blessings and so many things to be thankful for this holiday season. And I look forward to talking to you guys next time.